Hey, you, welcome to or welcome back to Keisha's House Motivation and Inspiration. I'm Keisha, and I'm so glad that you stopped by. It's another Monday, and I don't know about you, but these weeks have been flying by. We are in the summer at the time of this recording, and let me tell you, I'm not mad at all of the holidays. This is the way summer needs to be. So last week was Juneteenth, and it was in the middle of the week. I think it was Wednesday. So I didn't get to do anything on Wednesday with the family, but on Thursday we went to the beach and it was amazing. We have, or I should say we found this, I'm going to call it a secret. I'm not going to tell you where it is, but it's about a few hours away from my home and it's a private beach. It's super private. When I got there, there was maybe only like 6 or 7 families on it. It's a huge stretch of beach. But what I love about it, we get to see all of the ships and the barges go by. But my favorite is that we saw the crabs running on the surface of the beach, and then we saw the dolphins or the orcas or the something. We can't really see them, but we could see their fins. We know they're out there, and we just enjoy watching them. So that was amazing. Went out there with the family, went out there with my parents, and it was just a really good, really good time. It's not always, I should say, we don't always get the opportunity to just set our phones down and just be in the moment. And when you have 3 kids like I do that are 9 years apart, seeing all 3 of them play together is just nothing but a treat. So it was a great time. I hope you had a good week last week as well. So let's just dive right into last week's quote. If you're new here, that's what we do. We review last week, we grade the week, then we have a quote to help motivate and inspire us for the week ahead. So with that being said, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. We got things to talk about. So let's dive in. So last week's quote was, "A goal is not always meant to be reached. It often serves as something to aim at." A goal is not always meant to be reached. It often serves as something to aim at. I really like this quote. And at first glance, I think someone could say, no, like if your goal is not reached, you failed. And I think so many times we get into this pass fail, I either did it or I just have to quit mentality. But the reality is sometimes there are things that we are aiming for, and along the journey, we find something better because we just don't know what we don't know. We just don't know what we don't know. And sometimes we need to go on the path and the journey, but along the way, we just find something that may be better or that's ultimately just a better fit for us. And so many times, I think we also get in the rut of thinking, this is what is expected of me, so I'm going to do what people want from me instead of taking a step back and really finding what you truly enjoy to be and what you want to excel at. Not because of expectations, but because of something that you genuinely want to do. So I can see someone taking this quote and misinterpreting it, but I see it one that is positive. It's not saying to give up on your goals. It's saying that sometimes you only know what you know, so you go after what you think you want to do. But as you grow, develop, mature, and just become more exposed to different opportunities, you may find something that's a better fit. I think that's a win. Personally, I think that's a win. But it does take a mind shift to recognize that not accomplishing something that you say you're going to do is not failure. And last week, if you didn't get a chance to listen to last week, please do jump over there. But last week, and at the time of this recording, not everything has been flipped back over to Keisha's House. When I first started this podcast 3 years ago, it was Keisha's House Motivation and Inspiration. Actually, it just started off at Keisha's House. We added the motivation and inspiration afterwards. Then this year, I jumped over to preventive mental health. But because of some shifts in my family, it just makes sense to take a step back and just to be Keisha's House. And actually, I'm not happy that I just said just, because I think sometimes when we say it's just this, we diminish the value in it. We're saying, okay, it's not what I really wanted, but I will settle. It's not settling. To me, this is not settling. This is pivoting to be more present where I need to be. But y'all, I can't tell if you can tell. I'm excited. I missed Keisha's House. And sometimes, you know what it says? When something leaves you, if it's really meant to be, it'll come back. It's back. So at the time of this recording, not everything has changed. the titles, the names, and the blah, blah, blah. I'll get to it. But I'm just glad that you're here. So here, we grade our week. It's either A, a B, or a C. We have nothing below a C because that is failing, and we don't fail here. Because life, yes, gets hard, but we don't fail at life. We just learn from mistakes, we learn from experiences, and we just do our best the next time around. So with that being said, if I had to grade my week last week, I'm going to give myself an A-. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself an A-. And the beauty about this is your rubric scale may be different from mine. Yours may be harder than mine is. Mine may be harder at times than yours. That is totally fine. It's your rubric scale because you're not sharing it with anybody else. You get to decide what your week was, an A, a B, or a C. And if your week was not an A, and honestly, even if it is an A, there is something that you could probably have learned from last week that you can adjust in this coming week. I'm giving myself an A because one of the goals that I had for this week, I didn't quite hit it. However, I did make some adjustments that has set me up for what I'm considering success in this new week. So next week, stay tuned and we'll see how I do next week, and I'll let you know how I accomplished this goal by pivoting and shifting what it is that I need to aim for. So I'm giving myself an A. So with that being said, I have waited 2 weeks to tell you about the book that I had read and to dive into the quote for this week. I'm excited about it, but last week I really needed to focus on why I was shifting from preventive mental health to Keisha's House, motivation and inspiration, where we started. So I read this amazing book called Dream Big and Win by Liz Elting, I want to say. Maybe I'll connect her to this post and she can correct me on how she says her last name. I am sorry if that's not correct. I loved this book. What I love about this book is she's an amazing storyteller. I specifically listened to this book. I didn't read it, and I highly recommend listening to the audio. First off, she's a great storyteller. She has really interesting stories just in general. And she talks about at the very beginning how she went to college and she did what was expected. Not something that she loved to do, but she did something that was going to check the box to provide her the lifestyle that society says you'll have if you do certain jobs. And of course, she went into a field that was not predominantly women. There's a lot of men in that field. And at that time, it was very much so, although she had the same credentials, she wasn't being treated the same as the men in the office. That's not new. That's not new. It still happens. We're getting better. I think every industry is different, but that's not new. What was important was that she had a moment where she was like, enough is enough. I know what I really want to do. But for a long time, I've convinced myself that that's something I cannot do. And she had this decision to say, I am worth more than this. I can give more than this. And although I have nothing, I'm going to make it happen. And it's really a story of grit and determination. And she took something that started at her kitchen table into a multi-million-dollar business and ended up leading in her industry. But again, like I said, she's an amazing storyteller. Not only that, I learned a lot in just history and in the field that I didn't know anything about. There was also some really nice nods to her parents as well as to how they helped just develop and direct her future path. But I really liked that she was open and raw. She didn't remove any parts of her life from this story. We learned a little bit about her personal life, how she handled business, and then how she closed that chapter in her business. I think that was really nice to see everything full circle. So again, highly recommend this book. I'm not giving you a lot because I think you really need to listen to it. And this is definitely one of these books that I will be going back and reading again. My husband is an entrepreneur. I'm right there alongside him. And I think there's just a lot of life lessons that you can learn from this book, especially if you desire to start and build your own business. And if you've already started, again, it's worth the read. So one of the areas that really stood out to me was the fact that she talked about how at the very beginning, they were just hiring anybody. You applied, you got the job, because they were moving so quickly to try to keep up with the demand of their clients. When they did get a client, they wanted to make sure it was right, but they needed a team. And she shares that it would have been better if she just didn't hire people at all and waited for the right candidate than just taking anybody off the street. And that stood out to me because I think sometimes we get desperate and thinking that we need help. And yes, having more help can cut down on those long days and early mornings, but it can also cause us more harm when we have the wrong member added to our team. And even if you are not a business owner, that still holds true for any and every industry. If you are a manager, if you are a supervisor, when it comes to hiring someone, and I've been there, I've hired some people that were not the right people, and resumes can be deceiving. But if you have the wrong person added to your team, it can really set you back. But I got to thinking, we focus so much on who we add to our team, and we focus so much on wanting to be a part of the team, that I don't think we always take the time to step back and say, is the team truly right for me? What do I mean by that? As an employee, we get caught up with the title, with the location, with the office, with the name of the company. If it has a window, we all need a window. Those days in the office get long, but we go off of the window, we go off of the prestige. But we don't always take the time to say, is the values of this organization in alignment with my values? I strongly believe that what we're willing to take money for determines our character. And if you are a part of a team, and we've been there, you might have been there, where you're like, this is my dream job, this is where I want to be, and you get there and you're like, get me off this train. Get me off this train. I want a refund. Why? Because we get so caught up in all of the me. What is it going to do for me? We forget about our sanity. Do you know that we spend more time at work with our coworkers than with the people that we love? It's true. We spend more time with strangers, with coworkers, than we do with the people that we love. Don't you think we should take time to actually see if the character and the values of those people around you are in alignment with us? I'm sure you've all heard the phrase, you become like the 5 people you spend the most time with. Like, if you go to work today and you look around at the 5 people closest to you at work, do you want to be where they are? Are their personalities ones that you want to admire and mirror? And if not, you may not be on the right team. Now, don't get me wrong. Your education, your credentials, they may be perfect for the job. But just as the employer goes through a rigorous process of trying to find you and your skills, we need to do the same with making sure that that organization is a right fit for us, for our values, for who we are, who we want to become. That takes maturity. It takes maturity. Because I can tell you right now, if you look at my resume, I've been all over the place. I've been a part of really great teams. I've been a part of questionable teams. I have been stolen for jobs. People have found me and was like, I need you on my team. And there's some teams that I've been really grateful to be on. And there's other teams where I'm like, I need to get off at the next stop. Sometimes it's not always about the credentials. Sometimes it's not always about the money. And I know people may be saying, well, that's easier said than done. But I can tell you right now, I've been there. I've taken jobs for the money. I've taken the bonuses. And some of those jobs have been the worst jobs, or I shouldn't even say jobs. They were the worst experiences because it's not the job. I could have done the job in my sleep. It's the experience. And I don't know about you, but my mental health, my peace is more important than any dollar amount. But that has to be a decision that you have to make. So to me, the challenge really is taking the time to say, if you're going to go through all of these steps to add me to your team, I need to put in the effort and the work to make sure that you're a team that I'm even willing to be on. And only you know that. But it's worth the effort. Again, you become like the 5 people you most spend your time with. So the quote for this week is the following, and I don't have an author as to who said it, but it's the following: you are exactly who you choose to be. You are exactly who you choose to be. Like I said, what you're willing to take money for will determine your character. It's going to determine your character. Because where you're willing to take money from tells me what your values are. If you want to be a part of that team, if you want to be a part of that organization, just know your association alone, you've heard it, you're guilty by association. What that organization is known for is what you're going to become known for. So take it seriously. Because I can tell you right now, my reputation is very important to me. It's very important to me. So you are exactly who you choose to be. So now I'm not telling you this week to go look at the people around your job and be like, I'm not sure if I want to be like y'all and quit. I'm not telling you to do that. What I am saying is, if you find yourself not only at work, in any organization, if you find yourself in a situation where you start to look around and you realize that your values are not aligned into where you are, then I would recommend taking some time to reflect on that. Because I'm not going to tell you what to do. Only you can tell yourself what to do. Only you know your situation and your circumstance. And it may not be a change for today. It might be a year from now. It might mean you need to dust off that resume and start putting out some applications. It may spark some type of change in you. But the reality is, only you have control over who you choose to be. You are exactly who you choose to be. Because I can tell you right now, no matter what team I'm on, if you want someone who's going to just smile, I do smile a lot, just smile and just do what everyone wants that person to do, or if I see a problem, if you expect me just to look the other way, do not put me on your team. I'm going to tell you about it. I'm going to tell you that it's broken. I'm going to tell you it's not efficient. I'm going to tell you it's not effective. That's just who I am. That's what you're getting with me. You're getting someone who is constantly on a process improvement journey in everything that I do. If you don't want that, then I don't need to be on your team. But what's most important is that when I get a glimpse of an organization, and if I don't think that my contributions are valued, even though my skills and my education were identified as what they need, but while I'm there, I'm not being used in the capacity that I was hired for, why am I there? Why are you there? And I get it. All that glitters is not gold. It may seem perfect in that interview. Like I said, resumes can be deceiving, but the reputation of a company can also be deceiving. But once you get there, if your values are not aligned, why are you staying there? That's up to you. Now, I have been very blessed to be in some places and have some opportunities, especially over the last few years, that have just been outstanding. Outstanding. But I'm going to tell you right now, it has not always been that way. It has not always been that way. And it took a few times that I was like, we got to try again. We got to try again. We got to try again. And you just keep trying until you find where you belong. But it's not easy. And it can be very unpopular. And the reality is, because you spend more time at work than with strangers and coworkers than with the people that you love, you probably have some work besties that you're just like, oh, I just can't leave them. I promise you, if they're truly good friends, they'll survive a job change. They will. So yeah, that's the challenge this week. One day I might have a challenge that's easy. Every week doesn't seem easy, but that's okay. We don't get better if we just constantly take the easiest route, right? So you are exactly who you choose to be. Who are you going to choose to be today, this week, a year from now, 10 years from now? Who are you going to choose to be? It's totally up to you. Hey, as always, I'm so glad that you tuned in. Until next time, remember that you're worthy of the life that you want to live and who you choose to be. I look forward to hearing how your week goes next week. So, hey, if you're willing to share what your grade of the week is, I would be happy to read it and to learn what your grade is. Again, mine was an A, but it's totally up to you. It's your grade, it's your rubric, it's your journey. So till next time, see you soon.